So going more into the stock management side of batch trackable items, just like you would have with non-batch trackable items or regular stock quantities, Katana also supports stock transfers for customers who are using multiple location inventory, and also stock takes. So you can run a process where you count your inventory to make sure that you have the correct numbers on record, and then if not, then you fix them. So first we'll cover the stock take use case. So Katana stock take is quite useful, and I'll show you how it looks with a non-batch trackable item like this one, for example. This is the American blend coffee. It's not batch trackable. And then also, let's say the 250 gram package of Brazilian roasted coffee. Now, what I want you to look at here is you can see that I've got 31 pieces for the American blend coffee. I've got 220 pieces for the Brazilian coffee. Now, the Brazilian coffee is my batch trackable item, and I have inventory spread across multiple batches that I have to count against as well. And then if I selected those two items and then choose create stock take, then it will automatically query against the batches that exist for batch trackable goods. So in this case, you can see Brazilian roasted coffee is listed in 3 rows, but even though the total amount of stock is 220, as mentioned earlier, that's spread across these 3 batches. The American blend, which is grayed out here in the batch tracking side of things, is not batch trackable. So when you do a stock count, this actually works with barcode scanning, which we'll get into in one of the other tutorials, but I'll show you how the process works with stock tracking in this case. So let's say that I change this to a work in progress, and I go in here and I do a total stock count. Let's say that this is 30 instead of 32. Let's say that this is 8. This is 200, so that one would be correct. And this one is also 8. Now, originally this was 31, 10, 200, and 10. Now, if I complete that, this will create a stock adjustment where 2 units will be removed from batch 006, and then 2 units will be removed from batch 003. And I'll show you how that looks. I'll go ahead and mark it as completed. And then you see it creates a stock adjustment here, where that adjustment has been made, that this has been reduced by 2 units. This has been reduced by 2 units. Of course, I could print that out, provide it to my accountant, and reduce my inventory from accounting as required. So that's how that works with respect to stock takes. Stock takes check your existing batch quantities to see if they're right. If they're not right, then it creates stock adjustment to make the adjustment for you to check against the stock. Pretty straightforward, but that's how stock takes work with respect to batch numbers, and that's also how it works with respect to non-batch items. So anyway, looking at the other use case, which is a stock transfer, where you take existing inventory and send it to another location, you have the stock transfer here as well. Now, anytime you generate a document for batch trackable goods, receiving a PO, you create a batch number. Manufacturing order, create batch number. But you also have to choose from which batch things are being taken from when those processes are begun. So let's say a stock transfer is created, where I'm going to choose the main location and send to the furniture crafting location. I might do the 250 package of Brazilian roasted coffee. It's going to ask me that, well, if I'm going to send over, let's say, 1 unit of quantity from this current location to the next current location, it's going to ask, well, from which particular batch will you draw down from? So you can see a list of all of the batches, including the ones with no stock, and then here's the ones that have stock. So I'll just choose from batch 006 and hit confirm. And then basically this will create a stock transfer between main location and the other location. Total quantity will drop by 1 on one side, and then total quantity will increase by 1 on the other side, but not just in totals, but also per batch. So batch 006 drops by 1, and then it will increase by 1 when it goes to the opposite location. What's very interesting about this is, on the batches screen, when you see that information, you'll also have access to toggle between the different locations where batch trackable goods will be from one place as well as another. So you can see that this batch 006 with one piece in stock total is now available and visible on this particular location. The same with multi-location inventory. For example, if I'm looking at the furniture crafting location that I have here, you'll see that total in stock, I'll just put 1 to shortcut it, is located here. So this is the total stock. It's not specifying the batch, but on the inventory screen, it will specify the total. But we'll get more into the tracking details after we go through the workflows. So next thing we're going to go over is how to do a purchase order workflow and assign inventory batch numbers to incoming material.